Hey gorgeous, welcome back to another episode of The Should Life. Before we jump into the juicy stuff, I am so excited to share with you that my 12-week group coaching program called Extraordinary is starting August 30th. Extraordinary is for the one who's ready to discover who they are and why they're here. This is a group coaching program unlike anything else. This isn't about me teaching you lessons. This is about you remembering what's been within you all along. I love being in group spaces while I'm integrating information because you're completely immersed in a community of like-minded people who are going through the same process as you are. Some of my closest friends are people I've met in group environments like this. So this program is for you to give the microphone to the quiet nudging of the inner voice. You know what I'm talking about. This is the program for you to know your value and your worth, to feel grounded and at peace with who you are, and to get curious about your unique gifts and purpose in this world. So I am so excited about what is included in this program. It's too much to actually explain here, especially for the price of $555. This is kind of ridiculous, but this is the kind of exciting stuff that comes from me following the guidance of my own inner voice. This is going to be a 12-week group program where we will meet every week so you can really start to integrate this inner voice work into your real life. This group is going to be kept really small, like I'm talking a maximum of 5 people. So you're going to have plenty of opportunities for individualized coaching as that shows up. And on top of group coaching, each participant is also going to have a one-on-one 2-hour inner voice session with me before this group even gets started. Oh yeah, and those sessions alone are $222. So essentially this whole 12-week group coaching program is $333. Kind of crazy, right? Anyway, I cannot wait to see what incredible transformations happen. And this is an opportunity to go deep into your intuition. You know what your inner voice is guiding you to do. You aren't missing any signs. You don't have to ask your spirit guides. You actually aren't unsure. Not in your core. Not at the core of your being. You know if this feels like the next best step for you. So instead of ignoring it, trust and step forward into the life that you deserve and you desire. I also have payment plans available. Learn more and claim your spot by going to nomoreshouldlife.com. That's nomoreshouldlife.com, and I'll see you there. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to The Should Life. This is your host, Jessica Lee Labe, and today we're talking about anxiety or the inner voice. Let's get into it. Hey there, and welcome back. Here we are in season 2, and I am so glad to be back. Took a little break, and it felt so amazing. Got married, went on a honeymoon, all the things. And I have to tell you that I feel like revitalized. I feel so ready to be back with you. And I asked for your feedback on Instagram about what you want to hear from the podcast, what questions you have about the inner voice work, how to apply it in your life. And this is a lot of what we're going to be talking about in season 2. So this is like really starting to implement the information that we covered in season 1. So this is the good stuff. Like I love, love, love talking about this. So today we're going to be talking about, am I hearing from anxiety or am I hearing from my inner voice? And how do I know the difference? This is an absolutely beautiful question. I love it so much. So let's talk about it. In order to get into this, we need to remember the difference between the mind and the inner voice. So in order to address this, we need to go back to the basics in terms of what is the difference between the inner voice and the mind. This is going to give us a lot of insight into what it is that we're actually hearing from. Okay, so at the beginning of an inner voice practice, and honestly, I do this too. So even if you've been practicing inner voice work for a while, you're still going to have experiences where you're like, I don't know what is talking to me right now. This feels like one thing, but my mind is so loud in this situation. My mind has been conditioned. There are some chew toys of the mind, as Jess Lively puts it, that are just so strong for our mind. For me, it was body image and eating and moving my body and how my body looked. That was always the one thing that my mind would get super hung up on. And so it was very confusing for me to weed through what I was actually hearing from. Was I hearing from the mind or was I hearing from the inner voice? Because it was such a complex topic for my mind and I had so much trauma around it. And so if you're feeling this way, first, I just want to acknowledge that this is totally normal. It's actually 100% to be expected. So when we're talking about something like anxiety is very much from the mind. And how do we know this? We know this because we know how the mind communicates. This is the key to answering all of these questions, is going back to the basics, like I said. So going back to the basics of what does the mind sound like and feel like, and what does the inner voice sound like and feel like to you. Now, this is very individual, which is what makes this work so fascinating and amazing. But at the same time, it can also be a little difficult because you're not just going to have black and white answers. You're not going to be able to put the inner voice in a box. So overall, we know this about the mind. We know that the mind cannot live in the present moment. And we know that because the mind is worry, anxiety, fear, doubt, envy, shame. And we know that we cannot be in the present moment and simultaneously experience those feelings. If you want an amazing resource in terms of coming back to the present, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is the best. Cannot recommend it highly enough. So when we think about these messages of the mind, of anxiety, fear, doubt, rumination, shame, where do these live? These live in the future and these live in the past. They do not live in the present. So this is one breadcrumb of ding, ding, ding. Okay, I'm onto something here. This is what is coming through for me right now is having me focus on this shit that happened in my past that I'm now feeling all this shame about. It just keeps replaying in my mind. Or, I feel super consumed with fear over the future. I have all these anxious thoughts. I have these scenarios just playing in my head about things that could happen. And it's taking me out of the present moment. Okay, this is a breadcrumb. This is not my inner voice. This is not my soul, my truth, my higher self that's speaking to me right now. This is taking me into the future. So this is not my inner voice. This is the mind. So what I want you to focus on when you're questioning, is this anxiety or is this the inner voice? I want you to come back to your body. I want you to come back to the sensations that you're feeling in the body and how you are feeling as you inhabit your body. Why? Because your body is a truth teller. Your body will give you all of the answers. So when we're cut off from the body, which is what we do when we live in the mind, when we live the should life, we're essentially living from the neck up. We're allowing the mind to dominate everything. Our viewpoint, the way we view ourselves, we take these lies of the mind and we attach ourselves to them. We attach ourselves to them to the extent that we create I am statements about them. We say, I am anxious. I am a perfectionist, right? This is how powerful the mind is. But it doesn't have to be this way. Okay, so once we have this awareness, this beautiful, beautiful awareness of, okay, this is a part of me, yes, but I don't want to identify as this anymore. I know that there's something more here. I know that I am more than this. So now we start to expand. We start to go down the neck, down to the chest. Oh, okay, I'm a body. I have a body here. Okay, let's explore what the body has to tell me. I've lived most of my life hearing from the mind. Maybe let's give something else the microphone and just see what happens. Like, let's stop taking this shit so seriously. Just try it. Just get curious about it. Like, what would happen if I tried this? Just play around. Get curious. Have some fun with it. Okay. So I want you to tune in to how you're feeling in the body when you hear from different parts of you. So when you hear from the mind or you hear from anxiety and you're not sure if that's real or not, how does that feel in the body? Because that's always going to bring you back to your truth. So if it is from the mind, if it is from anxiety, how do you typically feel? You feel tight. You feel tense. You feel small, kind of like clenched up. Maybe you feel like you want to isolate. And then I want you to explore what the body feels like when you are fully present. When you hear someone speak life into you, like life-giving words. When you're with someone where you can be 100% yourself. When you hear from the inner voice and it tells you how loved you are, how abundant you are, and you're able to receive it fully, how does that feel in the body? Typically, that feels, my clients describe it as expansive, as big, as full. Like I feel full, like full, not in lethargic full, like I just had Thanksgiving dinner, but like full, like I just feel overflowing. You feel the energy of all that is you when you hear from your inner voice. So this is really the key that I want you to continue to come back to, because what the mind is going to want you to do is to stay up in the mind and to essentially be on a hamster wheel with this. Because you may hear from the inner voice, but then the mind may butt in and say, no, maybe do this, or it's going to send you all these doubts right away. Have you ever had that where you've had like an amazing idea and for a moment you get really excited about it and you feel that expansiveness in the body? It starts to take over. You feel like your heart even start to like expand and you're like, oh my gosh, could you even imagine if I did that? How amazing. And it lasts for like a second, maybe, before then what is the next comment, the next thing that comes out of your mouth, which is typically, if you allow the mind to come in, it's typically, oh, but I don't even know where I would get started. Yeah, but I've got kids. There's no time. I mean, where would I find the time? This is how we know the difference. If you stay connected to that feeling of, oh my gosh, what if I did that thing? Can you imagine? I mean, you feel the expansiveness in that versus the contraction of when the mind comes in to dominate with doubt and with fear. This is a beautiful tool in being able to tell if you are hearing from your anxiety or if you are hearing from your truth. So I hope that you found those tips helpful, and maybe the next time you're questioning, is this anxiety or is this the inner voice? you're able to tune in and look deeper and determine what it is that's actually speaking to you. If you have more questions or more things that you would like me to talk about in terms of real life inner voice work, send me a DM on Instagram at Jessica Lee Labe. I absolutely love hearing from you and talking about ways to apply inner voice work to your everyday life. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. This is your reminder that you are enough, you are worthy, and you are loved. You can find me over at Instagram at Jessica Lee Labe and my website at nomoreshouldlife.com. If you or someone you love is a high-achieving woman looking to activate your inner voice and embrace your shadow self to claim your soul-aligned life, send me a DM and let's do this. Hey, gorgeous. Welcome back to another episode of The Should Life. Before we jump into the juicy stuff, I am so excited to share with you that my 12-week group coaching program called Extraordinary is starting August 30th. Extraordinary is for the woman who's ready to discover who she is and why she's here. This is a program unlike anything else. This isn't about me teaching you lessons. This is about you remembering what's been within you all along. We're going to be exploring things like if you're not your thoughts, anxieties, and worries floating around in your head, then who are you? And I want you to ask these questions. Are you ready to not only receive information that will start to shift the way you view reality as you know it, but also start implementing and embodying this information to really release what's been holding you back? Do you want to have the capacity to allow all emotions to be fully felt in your body without feeling like they will annihilate you? Do you deeply desire a space of pure belonging so you can freely explore parts of yourself that may have been neglected for years? Are you ready to get messy and feel the shit you've been ignoring for far too long? Do you want to invite play and curiosity back into your life and stop taking life so damn seriously? If this resonates with you and if you're ready to pull back the curtain of the mind that's been telling you these stories and keeping you stuck, head over to nomoreshouldlife.com to get more information and claim your spot. I cannot wait to see you there.